It's a real thing now.
I don't know why we have to always reset, but it is what it is. Happy Friday, Grand Rising to all. Grand Rising to all. What's good,
See a nice little ting, we pursue her. See a nice little, yeah. I'm moving with a purpose, bigger than a service. You can never, even if you rehearse this.
We got a lot to talk about, Elon and Trump.
That's worthless, yes. What we do is impress.
Man, bro.
Test when you better than the rest. OG 101,
Oh, boy.
in the prep. Yeah,
Oh boy, we got a lot to talk about. Tap in. As you're joining, as you're joining, man, make sure, let me know where you're tapping in from. Shout out to OG Von's in the building. Shout out to Big Bro Doug in the building. Shout out to Big Bro Brandon in the building. Appreciate y'all tapping in. I'm gonna challenge y'all with something today. Share this, copy the link, and just send it to your group chat. Don't write anything. Just copy the link, send it to your group chat. I did it with mine. Y'all can do it with y'all. You feel me? This is one of those, man, I may have to jump off here. What time does the stock market open? 9:30? I may have to jump off at 9:30 because Elon, man, Elon got me over here. Lord. But in all situations, when there is chaos, for me with the stocks, that should get you excited. It should get you excited when it comes to the stocks. If you're not just a long-term person, if you're a long-term person and just let it sit, don't even look at it. But if you like to trade, I'm not a day trader, but I like to take advantage of certain opportunities. So when it comes to something like Tesla, if I had a whole bunch of money just stacked away to the side, I'll be totally honest. This is the time. This is the time to buy. Not saying that it won't drop anymore, but with this feud between Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it just I think the stock went down. This was the biggest drop for a single day in Tesla in the history of Tesla, and it just goes to show you how the stock market has absolutely nothing to do with past performance. Or I shouldn't say that it has nothing to do with it. It factors in all those things, of course, but it's based on people's emotions, how they feel about a particular stock. Oh, I feel that now that Elon Musk and Donald Trump are going back and forth, I feel that this will not be good for Tesla. Or I feel that there's going to be a lot of ups and downs. So people get nervous, start pulling their money. But I bought back in. I pulled it for a sec and then I bought right back in because it is what it is. One thing that I may not agree with Elon when it comes to this whole him versus Trump situation, and I may agree with him. We're going to go into it. And a lot of it, as always, with the conversations, it can change based on the feedback that you all give me. But one thing that I will say is that exactly why Elon is behaving the way that he's behaving is exactly why I'm betting on him still. His ego is going to, I hope, make me a lot of money. Hopefully it's not too detrimental to the country. And it's funny. So Vons, I got to write. We're going to talk about it more in detail later. But Vons, you said the power of Trump. A whole lot of y'all Democrats were running around. Didn't Bernie Sanders and your girl AOC, they created an entire campaign, if I'm not mistaken, based on the oligarchy, as Bernie says, and Donald Trump being controlled by the wealthiest people in America. I said it before. Donald Trump cannot be controlled by anybody. And now we have that proof. So all y'all Democrats that were running around saying that Donald Trump's being controlled by Elon, perhaps you're changing your tune a bit now. And it's okay to acknowledge that. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. Unc said, my money's on the rich guy too. And I don't mean Trump. So he doesn't mean Trump. So I'll give you this. And before we get into it a little, matter of fact, let me remind me of this, Unc. Do me a favor. Remind me of this in the group chat. And I'm also going to put it in my notes. But what we're seeing with Elon Musk and Donald Trump is, see, I don't know if my money's always on the money guy. It's the money guy versus the guy. Trump has always been the guy. Elon is the money guy. But what do we like to say? Like, Elon, let's keep it real. Elon is a nerd. I told y'all I have no issue with nerds, but he's a nerd that made it big, made a lot of money. Trump's the cool guy that's always been cool. There's not any amount of money, in my opinion, that Elon Musk can make to where he walks in a room and Donald Trump is in that room as well, and Elon Musk feels like he's the top guy. I'm just being honest. There's a difference. There's a difference. Now, when it comes to stocks, my money's on Elon. I'm betting on Elon. Elon is he's compulsive with this. He's compulsive with this. Yeah, keep whatever you need. You need some ketamine, you need some shrooms. Yeah, focus up. Just don't abuse it. But no, that's just a little joke. That's just a little joke. Let's get into we don't want Elon Musk. No, Ruben, you're not an Elon Musk fan. You're not an Elon Musk fan. What's funny is, yo, I feel like the people that love Elon Musk, it goes back and forth. And now we're getting ready to probably see a swing where the Democrats and, you know, certain Democrats, I'll say, they'll get back on board with Elon and go back to loving him for all his progressive ways and everything else. And of course, people like to unite on what? The enemy of my enemy is my friend. So if y'all got mutual enemies, a lot of times that brings people together. So let's get into the first topic of the show before we get into Trump versus Elon. All right. Because if we start on Trump versus Elon, we will not leave Trump versus Elon. So the first thing that I wanted to talk about, if it's cool with y'all, is this Piers Morgan situation. So we've been having a lot of conversations on the trans community, what's going on in high school sports, more specifically in California, where this biologically born man or boy is competing against biologically born women, girls in sports. And there was a situation at the past Olympics. I'm not sure if you all remember. Damn, there's a couple situations at the past Olympics. Now I gotta, because making fun of, hold on. Sometimes when I'm talking to y'all, I start writing like, oh shoot, I gotta make a note about that other topic that we were talking about. So whatever. But with the Olympics, there was that boxer, right? Iman Khalif. I forgot the name. My apologies if I'm mistaken. And I remember because I came out and said that Iman Khalif, that it wasn't right that a man was competing against women in the Olympics. And then some new information that came out and they were saying, well, it's not a man. It's kind of like a hybrid or something they were trying to say. I didn't really have a good understanding of it. And recently, it seems like it has been proven scientifically, right? We got to go based on science, that boxer was a guy. So without further ado, let's just get into it. Let me know if my internet starts skipping. What's so crazy is when we just moved, we got the 1,000 fiber, whatever it's called, and it's still the same results. This stuff still lags. If somebody knows some information on how to make sure that you're not lagging on here, please let me know. But let's get into this first video. Let's share it for y'all. You guys tell me. This was a wild, it's still wild to me that we're even having these conversations. Like, this seems to be the one issue that Democrats, Republicans, people old and young, all different demographics can come together and just agree on and say, yo, we got to figure out this sports situation. We just shouldn't have men competing against women, and we shouldn't have boys competing against girls. And we saw the outrage that came up in the situation that we're talking about with the Olympics, where it's a grown man punching a woman. Let's get into the video. My fault, because I'm gonna start talking, get all sidetracked. All right, let me get y'all on the full screen. Let me chill in the corner, and we'll get y'all thoughts. Where we're gonna start? I don't want to. So I even made timestamps for y'all today, so I was prepared. Let's go to 1 minute and 24 seconds, or 25 should be good.
All of you, Tommy Leary, I am clutching here the lab report, which was sensationally published in the last 48 hours.
Shout out to my little bro, Andrew.
What I and many others, you included, had concluded with our own eyes at the Paris Olympics, where Iman Khalif was looking like a man, boxing like a man, and beating up women in the ring so badly that one, an Italian female boxer, quit after 43 seconds and said she'd never been hit that hard in her life and feared for her life. So it was bleedingly obvious there was something wrong here, particularly when we knew that Imam Khalif had been banned from the previous year's World Championships after reportedly failing a sex test. And this is the result that got leaked. Now, this is pretty unambiguous. Chromosome analysis reveals male karyotype. That's it. It looks like Imam Khalif is a biological male. Your thoughts?
Yeah, Piers, the science doesn't lie. It's great to have that clarification, though none of us really needed it. I think it was abundantly obvious to those of us with eyes that watched any of this. We knew exactly what was happening here. But you'll recall, Piers, sports journalists, especially here in the United States, they called for people like you and me and Outkick and other outlets that were honest about this to be sued up, down, right, left, center. Oh my gosh, how dare you misgender this person? You guys are so evil. It's so awful. Well, where's the
I mean, I can't say that I was sued on, our humble platform, but I came out. Matter of fact, this is the time. I don't know if y'all remember. This is when I came out with the segment "Dumb-ish I Got Wrong" the other day. I came out with an entire segment based on this because I reported it as a guy, because that's what came out, that there was a guy competing in the Olympics as a woman or in the women's category. And then they threw out all this other stuff. The Olympic committee said, oh, well, actually, it's this, it's that. And then I came out and said, yo, I was wrong about this. Did an entire segment. I wish I could have pulled it up. This is getting insane. And it's not just about, a boy playing sports against girls or a guy playing sports against a woman. It's the mindset. It's the fact that there's people out here that are in very powerful positions that will say and do anything and use whatever leverage they have to get people to move in a direction that aligns with their agenda. They do not care. The people that actually put these things in play, they know damn well that this is not right, that it makes no sense. However, they're just scared of pissing off a particular community. That community is very small, but seems to have a whole lot of power. And the trans community within the LGBTQ community makes it even smaller, because it's not like they're all aligned on this. And you can't even say that the entire trans community is aligned on this. We've had Caitlyn Jenner, formerly Bruce Jenner. He was the first person to come out and say, like, yo, this is ridiculous. This is crazy. As somebody that competed at the highest level, they shouldn't be. You can't have guys competing against women. You can't have boys competing against girls. But these are the minds of the people that are making other decisions that actually are, well, I shouldn't say actually are, but impact us in other areas of our life as well. These are people that we trust to make some of the most important decisions, and we can't agree on this. There's people that we can't agree on this particular topic, and these people are running for president. Gavin Newsom, he's in his own state saying that, hey, there's an issue of fairness. He received all this backlash from Democrats saying that he was just that he was offending the trans community, putting trans kids in danger, all this other stuff. And he's still allowing it in the state. Gavin Newsom has been running for president for I don't know how long. Gavin Newsom, imagine if he becomes president. That's people with access to nuclear buttons who can't even set the tone and stand on business when it comes to, hey, I don't want this boy competing against my daughter in sports. It's not fair. I don't want this grown man punching on this woman. We're supposed to be pro-women and all this other stuff, and shame on a lot of the women, because a lot of the women, y'all are the ones that are aligning with this BS. Let's keep going. And just so y'all are aware, this is a doctor, this lady right here, the first lady. She's a doctor as we go through this. So let's just continue. I wanted to skip ahead to, well, we'll let Tammy finish her sentence. Tammy, I forget what her name is. And then we'll skip ahead a little bit.
The apology, because as we suspected, the biology test came out, and guess what? 100%, we got our answer. That's a dude. And we need to be very clear about all of this. There is no place for men in women's sports. If you are a man who thinks he is a woman, that's fine. You can dress up, you can wear makeup, live your life, I don't care. Until you infringe on women and girls, then we're gonna put our foot down. Finally, here in the US, we have a president that's doing something about it. And I hope California, I know we're gonna get to this with AB Hernandez, I hope California loses all of its federal funding. Enough is enough.
Now, I completely agree. Dr. Webley, I know you do not completely agree. So let me start by just asking you this question. Why, out of interest, why do we separate the sexes in the Olympics?
Listen to this.
It's a historical thing, isn't it? You know, that we have male and female categories.
But why
This doctor was just asked why we separate men and women in the Olympics, a sporting event, obviously. And she said, because historically, we've had categories. This is why, when it comes to doctors and professors, they may be the worst. I'm being totally honest. And the reason why I say doctors and professors may be the worst is because those are some of the people that we hold in the highest regards. These doctors are in control. And not only do we hold them in high regards, but they impact us in such significant ways, either from a healthcare standpoint, in determining whether or not you can go under and have surgery, determining the trajectory of your health overall, determining whether or not you're going to put that jab in your arm. We hold them in the highest regards to make some of the most impactful decisions in our lives. And they are not driven by that Hippocratic oath that a lot of, especially people over 50, believe they are driven by. They do not care about anything but their reimbursements. And when I say they, I'm talking about the norm. There's exceptions. I work with some exceptions. Go check out my page. Check out Pete DeNoble. He's one of the exceptions, in my opinion. You guys go check him out. You go, if you have an issue orthopedically, you go check him out and you tell me if he's not an exception. Listen to some of the things that he speaks about and calls out a lot of this stuff. And that's, in my opinion, what makes him an exception. Working in the healthcare industry, everybody in the healthcare industry is driven by reimbursements, by money. From the moment you walk in the doctor's office, they are preparing you. It's no different than when you bring your car in to get serviced. The entire service department, they're trying to make money off of you. They're trying to, hey, we're going to, fudge the numbers a little bit. Hey, you should probably get some new tires. Hey, you're going to need to get that axle fixed. Or, hey, you need an alignment. I saw that your car was pulling a little bit left. We know how it goes. This is how they make their money. The doctors are no different. The professors, the reason why I say the professors and put them in that category, you look around at college professors in America, overwhelming majority, I think it's like over 90% are Democrat and lean liberal. These are the people that are pushing a lot of these outlandish policies, agendas. I'm just being totally honest. If it doesn't apply to you, then don't take it personally. I'm not talking to you. But if it does apply to you, maybe you should question it internally rather than just getting upset. The majority of these professors, they don't have real world experience. They live in a bubble. The same reason why we look at college kids, and there's a lot of college kids that come to mind where a college kid, I will never blame a college kid too much and hold them accountable for. Let me try to explain this. College kids are kids. They're children. They're living in a bubble in a transition period in their life where they're trying to figure out who they are, and they are like sponges in ways where it's almost like you go back to when you're a young kid as a sponge. In college, you're finding out who you are. You're trying different things, all these different things. You're like a sponge and you're very impressionable. So therefore, when these kids, whether they're doing stuff that we're seeing now, obviously some of it's just extreme, but whether their thoughts are on like the LGBTQ or trans community, all these different things, whether they believe that there's 1,000 different genders, I don't get too upset with them, is because they're kids. They're kids. But the problem with that is the professors live in that same bubble. The professors live in that same bubble. And just like any of us, our environment impacts us. We are all products of our environment. Now, what we decide to do with once we're in that environment, that's on us. but we can't act as if they're not influenced by the bubble that they're living in. And in my opinion, they're misleading a lot of our youth. They're misleading a lot of our youth with all this woke stuff. And even though they may think that they're doing it for the best interest of the kids, they don't even understand from a worldly standpoint, because they're just living in this little college bubble. It's not real. They don't have a lot of real world experience. You got business professors who never had businesses. You got all these people that are teaching you from the books that they read rather than the actual experiences that they had by working in that industry. That's the majority of professors. It just is what it is. If you're offended by it, then you probably fall into the category. Let's keep going.
Why do we do it?
We're learning over the last 20 years is that male and female categorization doesn't work.
What do you mean it doesn't work?
Because not everybody fits into a very simple male-female category, and that's why we're having discussions like this. It's not.
But
it's
everybody.
not
But
This is the type of stuff that creates mental health disorders. Doctors telling kids and doctors telling people that are very impressionable. It's like, oh, yo, you're pre-diabetic. That's a new thing now. You're pre-diabetic. So now they can start giving you pills. Now in your mind, you're scared. You're thinking, oh, no, this is going to lead to now it's you're putting in your mind that you're going to get diabetes, and you're ultimately going to get diabetes. You know what I mean? You start programming yourself. This is what they're doing with a lot of these kids. And then you have the doctors that are telling the kids, oh, you don't fit into that category. Oh, you're a boy. You don't like playing with monster trucks. Maybe you like dolls. Yeah, maybe you should start taking puberty blockers at 8 years old. And a lot of y'all may be thinking I'm exaggerating when I say taking puberty blockers at 8 years old. There's no doctor saying that. Just wait. Just wait. This is why it's so dangerous.
But this is the problem with the whole debate. They actually do, because the vast majority of human beings fit into the category of male or female.
I have to say something.
Well, no, hang on. I'm going to come to you, Sarah, and I will. I promise you.
The vast majority, you say, and that's the vast majority, and that's.
It's only in the last 2 or 3 years that suddenly half the world went, I'm transgender. Before that, everyone lived quite happily as male or female.
Okay, so I want to skip ahead a little bit because we got obviously a lot to cover. I'm gonna go to the 7 minute and 2 seconds. 7 minutes and 2 seconds. What's this one about? Let's see.
Of this nature is that if somebody like LeBron James decided to take up pickleball and really worked hard.
All right, actually, I'm gonna skip ahead to the next one. This is just pretty much saying what we all know, that Pierce is trying to. If I started running track next year, I'm 38 years old. If I started running track, if you gave me 2 years to train, I'll qualify for the Olympics, bro. Will I qualify for the Olympics? I'll qualify. I'll do some damage in these world championships. I don't know about the Olympics, but I'll do some damage in these world championships. Matter of fact, yeah, like if I had 2 years to just strictly train, man, stop playing. Stop playing. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I'm confident in it. I'm confident in it. All right. Confidence doesn't always get results, but hey, it is what it is. Let's move on to 10 minutes because remember, keep in mind what I said about that 8-year-olds, having 8-year-olds take puberty blockers. Remind me of that.
Blockers and gender affirming care amongst really good idea. Speak yet, so I don't
There's a doctor trying to ignore biology.
I haven't been able to speak yet, so I don't know why I'm being.
Feel free, fire away.
It. Thank you. I've got a really good idea, right? There's a load of debate about puberty blockers and gender affirming care amongst transgender people worldwide. If we let transgender young people, transgender feminine young people, have access to the puberty blockers and gender affirming hormones that they are asking to have, then they wouldn't build that muscle mass, they wouldn't have increased skeletal size, and they wouldn't have.
What age are you going to do this?
I have to play that again. This is a doctor saying this stuff. 100, 200, 500, 1,000 years ago, people are going to be looking at this like this is pure evil. I'm looking at it like it's pure evil right now. Listen to what she just said. If you give kids the puberty blockers they want, if you give kids the candy they want, we don't even allow kids to eat candy freely whenever they want. Now you're okay with kids giving them puberty blockers that are going to change their bone structure, change their muscle structure, change all of these things and limit them. to make it fair so the boy can play sports against girls? That's really the answer that these people are pushing. And then we sit back and always wonder why Donald Trump won. You sit back and wonder why Donald Trump won. And there's probably a whole bunch of Democrats that are listening saying, well, you can't just base it on one issue. Y'all vote based on one issue. Whenever I talk to y'all, you agree with the Republicans for 8 out of 10 things. And then the 9 and the 10 are the threat of Trump getting rid of Social Security and Medicare. This is insanity. This is why I said the number one reason why I voted for Trump is because of culture. I've been saying this all along. Because of culture. The culture of us, how we look at doctors and how we get finessed into taking big pharma medicines rather than just eating regular food. What did Trump and RFK just put in? The same way that Trump took a lot of money from big pharma, he cut their profits and said, nah, y'all not taking advantage of America like this. There's no way that we're paying $200 for an Ozempic pill, and in Europe they're paying $8. Y'all aren't taking advantage of us. Thanks for the bread, but nah. What did RFK just push? Oh yeah, we're taking this jab from 2020 off of the CDC recommended list. We don't need to be giving people that, all the healthy people. So her sitting here saying, just listen again. Just listen again. My fault. I don't want to go off on too much of a tangent. Listen to what she's saying. Listen to what she's suggesting.
Good idea, right? There's a load of debate about puberty blockers and gender affirming care amongst transgender people worldwide. If we let transgender young people, transgender feminine young people, have access to the puberty blockers and gender affirming hormones that they are asking to have, then they wouldn't build that muscle mass. They wouldn't have increased skeletal size, and they wouldn't have.
What age are you going to do this?
Well, you usually get puberty blockers when puberty starts. That's
so what age are you going to do this to kids?
Well, I just answered, when puberty starts.
So give me an age.
Well, puberty starts between the age of around about 8 to 11.
You're going to give 8-year-olds drugs to try and resolve this problem?
This is crazy. This is the world that we're living in. What do I always say? This is what happens when you're a single issue voter. When you're a single issue voter and you think that you could just sit back and say, I only voted for Kamala Harris because of my Social Security, and I don't care if I'm aligning myself with all of this other crazy woke nonsense that's being pushed by the Democrats and liberals. That's how they push it through, because they know that, okay, we're just going to, even if we do something here, we can have something crazy extreme over here, but these people aren't going to even look at that. They'll just vote based on this. You're giving the okay for your people, for your vote to go towards this craziness, which is what I've always said. When it comes to Donald Trump, I voted for Donald Trump. Hold me accountable for everything that Donald Trump does. It's a comprehensive approach. You have to look at the whole picture. I can't sit here and say, oh, I just like that. And now if Trump does something wild in the other area, I could just put my hands up and say I had nothing to do with it. No, I have to be held accountable for what my vote went towards overall. And then you look at the big picture, and hopefully whoever you're voting for, me in my case, hopefully when I look at the end of these 4 years and beyond, I can sit back and say, you know what? Overall, I felt good that I was okay with the outcome. I was satisfied with the outcome. Now, I may not look at it like that. But you know who never looks at it like that? You're never going to look at it like that if you're only a single issue voter, because you're just going to say, oh, I'm not even looking at the other stuff. I'm just looking at this. So you're never even going to consider whether your vote went towards things that are positive overall compared to negative. You're never even going to do those things, because the only thing you're worried about is this one particular issue. So you get hung up on that. They know that they can sell you on that, and therefore they can throw in all these other different things that they can sell other people on in order to win their votes. We got to do better. Let's move on from this. We already spent enough time on this. Let's move on. And Vons, I see your comment. Vons wrote, I couldn't vote. The candidates suck. If you feel that way, you got to everybody's got to be okay with the decision that they're making. Everybody just got to be okay with the decision that they're making. The only thing that I ask, I can't tell anybody anything. The only thing that I ask is that you don't look at just one thing. You don't just get caught up on, Trump's moving Project 2025. Project 2025 is going to put us in chains and shackles. You never read Project 2025. It didn't do any of those things. It didn't say any of those things as far as what I read. Maybe I missed that part. Now, I didn't read the whole thing. I read about 150 pages of it, but y'all know what I'm saying. Let's move on. Let's move on. All right, well, let's move on. Let's take a little bit of a we got Dr. Umar. Dr. Umar. All right, so Anthony sent this video. I believe Anthony sent this one. And it was about, we've talked about Dr. Umar a lot, especially with his situation with his daughter. His daughter came out at 22 and pretty much called him out saying, hey, you talk all this ish about men not showing up as fathers. Your entire brand is built on it. That's one part of it. That's how you're able to finesse all these women, get all these women in your corner, pander to them, and lift them up and say that, oh, it's the man's fault. Men got to do stuff. And every once in a while, he'll come out and hold a woman accountable or say something about women. But it's like he does it. So it's almost like he does that to keep some level of credibility. But when you factor it into everything else, it's just not significant enough. So in my opinion, just my opinion. So let's take a look at this. You guys give me your thoughts and we'll go from there.
Final question before we wrap it up. I saw something floating around, something about your daughter, potential daughter.
That is my daughter.
Okay, I want you to touch on that because I wanted you to speak on it from your perspective outside of just what's going on in the world.
Well, I would say, not to go too deep because that's
for sure.
But I would say my situation is the perfect situation that young black men or any black man will find yourself in when you don't practice sexual discipline. Because see, when my daughter was born, I was happy to be a father and I was ready to be one. But I was told that if I didn't marry the mother, I wouldn't be allowed to be. You see?
I went through that.
Yes, that was a pregnancy for marriage. It had nothing to do with me not wanting my child. I was ready. I was hyped. I was happy. You feel me?
Yeah.
And I said, I want this baby if you're going to let me be a father. I said, I don't want to be going to no child support and I don't want to be going to no damn family court. And lo and behold, the very things I asked not to be subjected to, she subjected me to them.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
Okay.
And so, according,
I asked not to be subjected to, and she subjected me to it. So therefore, I didn't want to show up for 22 years. And I'm sorry, I was supposed to let the thing, I'm going to let it play through, and then I'll go back. I was trying to let it play through.
to my daughter's narrative, her mother didn't share the truth with her. You felt her mother didn't tell her the real reason why I kept you from your father. And that was because I didn't marry her.
That's deep.
Damn.
So with that being said, I'm looking forward to building that relationship with my child. I'm patient with her because I know it can be tough to have one parent tell you, this is why your daddy wasn't dead. And then for you to find out from your father, that ain't the reason I wasn't dead.
That's not it.
She's the reason I wasn't dead.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. So I know she's hurting because she love her mom. She loyal to her mom, right?
Yeah.
And I think she's ambivalent and conflicted because I think she feels like if I try to build a relationship with my father,
It's going to affect.
is my mother going to feel some type of way? One thing you should never do is make your child choose sides.
Yes.
That is not their business. Black parents got to stop making our sons and daughters choose who you going to be with because that's the situation my daughter is in. I know she wants me. You feel me? I know it. But if I reach out to my father and come back home happy,
How mama going to feel?
how mama gonna feel? She gonna feel like she betrayed her mother.
Yeah.
Why should a child feel like I betrayed my mother just to build a relationship with my father, and I'm a grown woman.
Yeah, because you said you got receipts.
But guess what? I'm not going to blame the mom. As a man, I'm going to blame me.
Ooh,
I should have been more sexually disciplined back then.
that's a fact.
You
That's a
understand?
fact.
I created the situation. If I didn't impregnate that woman, she could have never done that to me. So at the end of the day,
If I didn't impregnate that woman, she could have never done that to me. I'm sorry, I had to interrupt this. Yo, this is what a narcissist looks like. I'm sorry.
we as men have to take responsibility
like
because
that.
our demons, our bad decisions, our lack of sexual discipline is eroding the foundation of our community. These women who we're not committing to, they're teaching our kids to hate us.
True.
And that's
So then commit, man.
our fault. What they doing is wrong. But if we never sowed the seed in the first place, we could have never gave them a reason to do it. And so now you got a whole generation of young black girls who hate men. Some of them going to get turned into lesbians because they've been indoctrinated by their mother, their grandmother, their aunts, and everybody else that black men ain't ish. So if we want to save the community as black men, the first thing we got to do is we got to start practicing sexual discipline. Why Puffy on trial right now?
I'm sorry. I saw Von's comment. Von said he's accountable. This is, bro, he is finessing y'all, bro. This is the type of accountability you take and say, like, I'm thinking of a situation in a game where, yo, it's my fault. You know, don't worry about it. It's my fault because, you know what I mean? I should have not only defended my man, but I should have, you know, I knew that this other person was so weak and so terrible. Like, it's my fault. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though I prepared them and even though, bro, this is not taking any real level of accountability. He's finessing y'all. This man is, Dr. Umar is gifted. Finesses.
Feel me?
Sexual discipline.
Sexual discipline, bro.
So this was my comment that I wrote, and we're going to go back through it and just chop it up piece by piece. I wrote, he doesn't give the other men the same level of grace he gives himself. Bro really be finessing cats with his words. He's basically saying he was a deadbeat for 22 years because he was upset the mom put him on child support. He took responsibility but still blamed the mother. This is the same game he finesses all his female followers with. This is funny. And to the Vons' comment, and Vons, I don't know how you're feeling about it now, but he's not only finessing the females, he's finessing the Negroes, the men. He's finessing, bro. And as somebody who probably used to view myself as a student of Dr. Umar, bro, I just see through this stuff. Based on your initial reaction. I mean, he's saying certain things in this, like, I'm patient with my daughter, bruh. Your daughter's been waiting 22 years to have a relationship with you. I'd say she's been patient with you. He's saying I'm patient with her as if he's like should be celebrated as a benevolent leader in the family because he's patient with his daughter. Bro, this is how like he strategically put this together to figure out how can I look as if I'm taking accountability, but still highlight that the main problem is the mother. The main problem is the mother. The only thing that this man said about the mother was that she put him on child support. So what? She put you on child support, bro. Yeah, you hate it. Yeah, it's wrong. Yeah, a lot of women do this and use this in terrible ways. But does that mean that you don't have a relationship with your daughter for 22 years? Is that really how you justify that? This just came across as BS to me. We gotta stop falling in love with these pastors and falling in love with these influencers. We got to stop doing this, bro, because this is crazy. And the fact that these grown men are sitting around this table and not pushing him, not challenging him like Dr. Umar would be challenging other people, like his energy is in any other situation. See, when he's talking about that, he's real calm, collective, you know, wants everybody to give him a certain level of grace. He wants to be seen as a level-headed guy. Nah, knock it off, bro. That's not the energy that you attack other people with. That's not the energy that you attack other problems with. because it's not always about attacking other people, but you attack that problem very strongly. And when you discuss that men got to show up and be fathers regardless of the situation, right? Men got to show up and be fathers. But you didn't. And it would be totally different if Dr. Umar had this conversation and he came out and volunteered this information. We didn't hear any of this for 22 years, Dr. Umar, until your daughter came out and put you on Front Street and put you on blast on the internet talking about you a deadbeat dad. You make a living off going around and pandering to women. And one of the things you do is call out the accountability for men to be a father to their kids and the detrimental effects that occur when they're not fathers to their kids. And you would think that if you're not being a father to your kid, at least if you want to accept some real accountability and if you want to keep your credibility, you would have been came out and said, you know what, I got a situation. Here's my situation. This is what I've been confronted with. Here's the issues that I have. Here's the problems that I'll take accountability for. But moving forward, this is how I would like it to be. He didn't do any of that. He didn't say anything. He had us believing that. I didn't even know that Dr. Umar had kids. And I definitely didn't. Well, maybe I knew that he had kids, but I definitely didn't know that he hadn't been to a birthday party in 22 years like his daughter put him on blast with. This is, I don't know. Well, I don't even know if we really need to go through it again, but this is just another one of those things. We don't need to go through it. I already made the decision. But this is just another one of those things where Black people in particular, I'll be totally honest, it's almost like you can tell. I don't even know if intelligence is the right word, but what I was getting ready to say is you can tell the intelligence of a group of people, any demographic of people, by the things that we are emotionally triggered by and the things that we are controlled by when it comes to our emotions and how we approach different things on that spectrum of logic versus emotion. This is why you can pander to the Black community. This is why people want to sell to the Black community. Black people are some of the biggest consumers. This is why, because we get so caught up emotionally. We care about how we dress and how it makes us feel. We care about what car we're wearing. We care so much about things that are totally irrelevant or should be totally irrelevant to us walking around with our chin held high and our confidence. We prioritize the BS over the actual realness. Just my opinion. Just my opinion. This is it's corny. And there need to be more Black. This is why I'm so disgusted in this, because there's a lot of people that are going to be finessed watching this, and none of these Black men had anything to say. They're over there, yes, men in him, like, yeah, hey, that's deep. That's real. There ain't nothing deep about what he said. There's nothing deep about what he said. He's finessing. Bro, if I was a Democrat, bro, I'd be, and Unc, I saw what you just wrote. See, nephew, just listening to you makes me convinced that you would actually serve good in Congress. If I was on the Democratic side, if I just bought in to the Democratic stuff, man, I could be finessing so hard, because it's so easy to finesse certain groups of people. Like, you know what I mean? I just choose violence, and by violence I mean realness, and to not just go along with the get along of what everybody else does, just because that's what my parents did, that's what my grandparents did. I don't live like that. Let's move on. Let's move on. Let's get to the Elon versus Trump. Are we gonna do one more video? No, hold on. So we could do Elon versus Trump, or let's do Elon versus Trump. Let's do Elon. Yeah, it is what it is. I got it pulled up. No, we're not doing Elon versus Trump. See, in my head, and y'all know when we start talking about the next topic, see, now the fact that I'm holding off on it, I just don't want the next topic to take so long. But you know, no, we're gonna go a different route. We're gonna do this Dave Portnoy situation. We're gonna get into this Dave Portnoy situation. I'm not sure if y'all are familiar with it. This is wild. This is wild, and it gives a lot of people a bad name. I think we got the timestamps. I told y'all I was prepared today. We got the timestamps. We're going to go to 3 minutes and 48 seconds of this video. So I'm not sure if you are familiar with Dave Portnoy. He's the CEO of Barstool Sports. And I think we recently played a video, or I don't know if we recently played a video, but we had hold on, let me just make this full screen. There was a situation where people, like when you know how you buy bottles in the club and sometimes they'll bring out, like they'll say happy birthday, or it'll shout out, you can get whatever it is you say, like, yo, OG in the building, whatever it is that you want to put out, you can get it on the little light up thing that comes out when the bottle girls are dancing with all the sparklers and stuff, if that's what you're into. So when it comes to Dave Portnoy, he has a bar or a club. Some kids came in there and they wrote F the Jews. That's what they wrote on the sign when they had their bottles come out. Totally inappropriate, totally wrong, but a lot, and I'm going to say but, and a lot of people came out and said that his response to it was a bit over the top. And I'm not going to say that it was over the top. I'm not going to comment on whether or not it was over the top. However, it seems as if what happens in the Jewish community, or what happens in the Black community, I should say, happens in the Jewish community a lot, where you'll see a situation happen with, let's say, Black people, or like a George Floyd situation happens. And if a significant celebrity, athlete, whatever it is, a significant person in the Black community doesn't speak on it, there's pressure, right? There's pressure from the Black leaders, from the Black community. You need to speak on this, right? There's a lot of pressure. It seems as if when I saw Dave Portnoy's response, as if there was a lot of pressure on him to respond as well. And maybe that should be the case. Maybe it should be the case that when something significant happens, that people with a voice use their voice to help however they see fit, to stand up for their particular people. That is what it is. Let's get into this video. And let me see, Ruben, I want to make sure that I take a look at Ruben's comment real quick. Ruben wrote, do you know why South Africa, what use of genocide Elon Musk wants to put his company styling in South Africa without following through the conditions? Break it down for us, Ruben. Break it down for us, and then we can respond. But I can't, that's not enough for me to, I need a little bit more context or a little bit more something to properly respond to. I'm not familiar with what you're saying. But yeah, definitely give me a little more info, and then we can discuss it. All right, let me move over, and we should be on the proper time. It should be 3:48. 3:48. Let's go.
Let me play the first clip here.
Hold on, I got it in fast speed
here of Dave. This is SOT number 1. It's about a 3-minute clip of Dave snapping on Kirk Minihane. Play the clip.
Are you ignoring what's going on in the world?
No,
right
I'm
now?
not. What, Dave? What do you want to do with those guys? What do you want to do?
It's related?
What do you want to do with those guys in the bar? Put them in jail for 50 years?
Kirk,
fine. I don't care.
I didn't
They're
say that.
assholes.
You're quite literally changing everything you say, Kirk. If you just want me to kick him out, not mention it, not care that this kid
Not at all.
Shut up. If you just want me to ignore it,
Don't tell me to shut up. Don't tell me.
Shut the fuck up, you bald.
Okay, go ahead.
How's that?
Oh, it's kill. I'll never recover from that, Dave. Go ahead, continue. I'll never recover.
Well, you're the one who big boss man. Don't tell. I'll tell you, you work for me.
Okay, go ahead, continue.
You little bitch. You work for me.
Sure, you bet. For now,
Oh, you
continue.
don't? For now, quit. I don't care.
Is this show or not a show? Like, is this a show or not a show? Like, we can't have a conversation?
You're an idiot.
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want right now.
Yes, I think people should be allowed to make jokes.
So how many mother Jews have to be killed before you stop?
Now y'all see why I was like, it's a heavy one. I don't know if I'm gonna go directly to that or just do Elon versus Trump. Y'all thought I was trying to avoid Elon versus Trump. And if anything, I was trying to avoid this one. It's a little heavier. But y'all know we attack everything head on. Let me remind y'all that Dave Portnoy is that guy's boss. He's that guy's boss. People like Dave Portnoy and Rabbi Shmuley, in my opinion, they give Jews a bad name. They make people it's almost as if when it comes to the black community, there's certain things that I just can't stand. And you'll probably hear me utter like, I just hate, and I'll say an N-word. And it's just based on something specifically that I'm seeing that is a stereotype of black people that is super detrimental to black people. When I see Meg Thee Stallion up there at the DNC conference or whatever event that she was supporting Kamala Harris, and I see how the people are acting in the crowd and Meg Thee Stallion, what she's wearing, the songs that she's singing, the words that are in the songs that she's saying, it just makes me say I hate. I'm just being honest. That's what comes to mind. That's probably what comes out my mouth when I see it. Dave Portnoy is exhibiting a lot of the behavior that a lot of people will say when it comes to the Jewish community. When I get up in here, and I've said plenty of times where it's just a reality, where if you talk about certain people, you better be prepared for some type of response, backlash. And that's why when I have these conversations, I've been totally honest with y'all before. I'm like, yo, something in my gut. It's like a little like, you know how you have that something in your gut say like, hold up, bro. Like, are you sure you want to continue this? And the reason why I wanted to talk about this particular situation is because Dave Portnoy is going off and he's talking about, they're having a argument between, and it's, I guess, started with the situation at the bar. Because I guess the kid said that was a joke, but then I believe the other gentleman was talking about comedians. And I'm not sure if he already said it or if he says it later on in the video. I believe that I heard comedians when I was looking back at this. And I don't know if y'all remember, but December 2023, at the end of December 23, I went to a comedy show. I went to a holiday party. And it was a comedy show as this particular doctor and their group's holiday party. They did a comedy show. And they had on this comedian. And the comedian, I was the only black guy in the room. There was another black lady, older. She's probably in her 50s or 60s. I remember because she had the neck brace on. So she was just sitting there. She was one of the patients of one of the doctors. She was one of the patients of one of the doctors that got invited to the holiday party, I believe. The comedian gets up and he starts making black jokes. Not anything too crazy. Y'all know I'm not one of these like blackety blacks out here that just get offended easily when it comes to certain things that's said about black people. I try to be level-headed and more logical with it and not just get offended by certain stuff. A lot of times if it's true. But when it comes to, and I said this, and I actually went back to the video that I did just to let y'all know. Hold on. I have it. And I didn't want to show that video, honestly, because I was in a headspace that I don't want to be in right now as I'm having this convo with y'all. But the entire show the next day, I talked about this and I was pissed off because I said, people play around with black people. People think they can play around with black people. People think they can play around with Christians. People think that they can play around with certain people. And the reason why I said with Christians, because we were talking about the Olympics earlier, how they made the joke about the first supper. Remember the opening ceremony with the last Olympics, the opening? I'm all over the place, but just bear with me. So I was saying that on this show, this comedian, he found it perfectly fine for him to make these jokes about black people laundering money, you know, the whole drug thing, and where he does certain comedy shows and he's glad to be doing a show in front of Jews, even though there's a couple, Gentiles. At that point, I didn't even know what the word Gentiles meant. I probably thought he was talking like, hold up, what? Like, I probably Googled it. Like, what does Gentile mean? Like, what did he just call me? He could have just said non-Jew, but cool. And he was saying that he's glad to be in a room of Jewish people because he does comedy shows in some weird places. And when he does them in Harlem in black barbershops, he always thinks that they're just running the comedy shows because they're laundering money, which is obviously for illegal operations, drugs, cool, whatever. But what bothered me is the fact that Jewish people seem to be very sensitive when it comes to the jokes made towards Jewish people. And this is what Dave Portnoy is saying now. Now, I don't have a problem with you being sensitive towards any jokes that are made to your community. In a lot of ways, I think that Black people should take on this trait, take on this vision, or take on this mentality of not allowing people to play in our face and to not make jokes, because a lot of times those jokes impact the culture. And it's almost like you're giving an okay to certain things that are occurring. Just being honest. Just being honest. So when I hear Dave Portnoy, and it makes me think back to this comedian who felt that it was, now imagine if I was a Black comedian, right? And I was in a room full of Black people and there were just 2 Jewish people in the room. And I started to make Jewish jokes. It seems like that would be an inappropriate time. And keep in mind, I didn't realize it was a fundraiser to raise money because of what happened after October 7th. This was a fundraiser to raise money for, I believe, the Israeli military, something like that. I didn't know until I got there. I was just invited. I went with my homie Heidi. And it was a ticketed event. I didn't know. So as I'm sitting there, I didn't find this out till afterwards. So as I'm sitting there, I'm thinking like, damn, here it seems as if one of the most sensitive groups of people, but I'm not criticizing for being sensitive. Like I said, I think Black people should be a bit more sensitive with things that actually matter, and to protecting culture and not protecting the worst parts of our people, but protecting the things that are going to actually set us on the right path and that are conducive to being successful. But the most sensitive group of people, you feel comfortable making jokes when there's only 1 or 2 Black people in the room? I walked out. You want to know why I walked out? Because I was getting ready to say something. If you know me and you know my personality, then like I had absolutely no problem. I turned back and I was having this conversation actually while the guy was on set. And I was talking to the Black lady, and I made sure other people in the area hear me. I was like, yo, you okay with that? Like talking just like this. And the Black lady, she's sitting there. She's like, what's said? And I was like, I said, you don't feel any type of way about that? I said, I do. And I proceeded to just tell my homegirl, like, yo, you enjoy it here. I'm about to get out. I'm not about to just sit here at this what I didn't know was a fundraiser, and then you making certain jokes about people. People call it sensitive all you want. Don't play with me if you wouldn't want me playing with you in certain ways. Don't play with me when people feel that they could play with you in ways that they wouldn't allow you to play with them. That's a form of bullying. I felt bullied, and I don't like feeling bullied, because when you back people into a corner, that's when I can become more emotional and react more emotional and do certain things that may have just not represented myself in the best way that I like to be represented. So I just walked out. I dipped in front of everybody. Everybody saw that I was the only Black person. I was on the opposite side of the door. So I just walked out. Then I reached out to the comedian. And I went back today and I looked back at the messages that I had to the comedian, and I told him just that. And I actually told him that I want him to come on the show and explain to the audience and explain to people why he thought it was okay to make Black jokes when the Jewish community, I remember LeBron James, when he was singing Jay-Z lyrics complimentary of the Jewish community, saying, I'm getting that Jewish money. And he had to come out and apologize. So once again, I'm not telling Jewish people to not be sensitive. But I'm saying it's got to be consistent. And what I'm also telling black people is perhaps we should be a little bit more sensitive of certain things. Because when you got a group that you can't even be complimentary, nah, we don't want you bringing any attention to the money we getting. Don't bring it up. Don't talk about the success that we have. We don't want to hear it because we know that previously in the past, some of those things may have led to certain things happening to our people, getting kicked out of different countries, the Holocaust, all these different things. I'm just being real. Don't compliment us. Don't focus on the fact that we're getting money. Don't focus on the fact that we're successful. Don't focus on any of these things. We don't want you to focus on them. We don't want you to highlight them because we know something that the black community doesn't know. That when you get real wealth, you don't flaunt it. You don't flaunt it because then you put a target on yourself. Jewish people have learned this. Black people have not learned this in America. Because what do we do? What do our celebrities do and encourage us to do? Soon as we get a little money, we flaunt it. We overspend. We live beyond our means. Let me not get off topic. Getting back to the convo actually at hand. Dave Portnoy, he's exhibiting all the behavior as to why people are scared to say certain things on social media. As to why some of the most powerful people, when it comes to critiquing Israel about something, just like you can critique anything else. I come on here and I critique black people. I critique all different types of people. The LGBTQ. I can't critique like anything with Israel. Like I can't critique, especially when it's my tax dollars that are being sent there. Yeah, I'm able to critique. Yeah, I'm able to critique. So directly addressing Dave Portnoy when he behaves this way, very Rabbi Shmuley-ish, super emotional. In my opinion, he creates a terrible image for Jewish people. You think it's okay, and I want to reference a point that I made earlier with I think that Dave Portnoy has been pushed into a position like how a lot of black people are put into position, the celebrities, to where it's like, yo, you're not going to say anything about that. You're not going to say anything about that, to the point where you just decide to lean into it. And now you get people jumping out the window. You see it in all different types of communities where it's like, bro, you didn't like, well, the reaction was a little bit strong. Is this really what you mean? Or is this like, it's coming across a little bit aggressive? And I think that's what happened with Dave Portnoy. He thinks that he could tell a guy based on a conversation about a joke and people being able to make certain jokes. And is it free speech? Is it not free speech? I don't know. I don't know. Because when I go on being on YouTube, this platform, there are certain things that you can have a little kid, 8 years old, rapping and a little black kid talking about all types of stuff that I think that YouTube would censor, but they don't. But then if you have an opinion about the jab, they'll censor you. If you have an opinion about, let's say, certain things within certain communities, they'll censor you. They'll flag you. They'll limit your reach. So when we sit back and think, it's like, this is a little bit strange. Now, can I get mad if I'm on their platform? I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't matter, I guess. But this type of behavior where you're crashing out so much, where you're telling your employer on a live show, let me be clear, that was a live show, that he's a little B. You work for me. Oh, you work for me? Yeah, I'll fire you. Shoot, I'll say 500,000. No big deal for me. You're playing around with the livelihood. How a man puts food on the table for his family and embarrassing him beyond measure in front of the world and in front of his family. How is that man supposed to go home as a father? I don't know if he is a father, and be respected by his son, be respected by his daughter, be respected by his wife, when he just tolerated another man speaking to him like that. I would have been fired on the spot. on the spot. And people can say it's emotional. No, it's logical. It's not logical for me to be in a relationship, a work relationship with this person anymore. And it's also not logical for me to allow somebody to sit here and try to violate me in front of the world. It's just not going to happen. And I'm going based on perhaps what I said earlier. Perhaps other cultures are just too used to, perhaps black people are just too used to being disrespected in certain ways, being played with. Having Meg Thee Stallion be celebrated as the community representative for black culture, and them thinking that, oh, black people will vote for us if we just put this hood rat booger on stage portraying disgusting narratives. If we just have Cardi B come speak, why don't you go listen to some of the songs? I think there's one in particular that Meg Thee Stallion and Cardi B did together. And the Democratic Party thinks that they can play with me and play with representation, because what does that do? And this is why I respect the Jewish community, because they do not let anything snowball. If they're going to go too hard, if they're going to go extreme, then they're going to go extreme in preventing things before they become an issue. Now, what do I mean by letting stuff snowball? If the Democratic Party and Kamala Harris is celebrating Cardi B and Meg Thee Stallion, what does that do to my goddaughter? What does that do to other kids that are in their ages of, let's say, 5 to 15, where they're very impressionable, where they're looking for people to look up to? What does that do when the Democratic Party, people that we hold in high regards, when they're celebrating people in our culture that are detrimental to it, that are pushing lifestyles, that are pushing behaviors and habits that are detrimental to us? So I don't mind somebody going overboard and protecting their culture. So I'm just commenting on a lot of this stuff. Let me try to catch one of Unk's comments. Unk, my fault. I can't read everything. That's the misunderstanding I don't have. That's the misunderstanding I don't have about what we allow here in America. I thought it was free speech, that you should be able to say anything and not be sensitive. Unfortunately, it's not that way. It's not that way. It's only free speech when you're too weak to prevent people from saying certain things. And let's be clear. People can say to a certain extent what they want to say. But right now, what we're seeing with Trump, I see a couple kids, they're losing their visas, right? You say certain things. Now there's different. Now it's different when the government gets involved than Dave Portnoy. Dave Portnoy is a business. So I remember there were a lot of college kids that were saying certain things that were believed to be anti-Semite by a lot of people, or certain people, and they were calling to have these kids records. So that way, when they're looking for employment in a couple of years, they would be able to blacklist them pretty much, or not hire them. Do I think that that's extreme? Maybe. Do I think that they shouldn't have the right to get information on the people that they're hiring and do research and do certain amounts of digging? Now, it can get, I guess, to a point where it becomes a violation, but I don't really see an issue with that. You hire whoever you want to hire. Get as much information as you can based on the people that you want to hire. The problem is certain groups of people, when they have a lot more power, they're able to flex their muscle in ways like Dave Portnoy just flexed his muscle on his employee. But it's overall as a culture. Black people, we ain't even got the heart or the courage to even forget the power. We don't got the heart and the courage to start flexing when people start playing with us. We're so used to people playing with us because people, the people that play with us the most, or the people that get played with the most, are our celebrities. Those are the ones that we hold in the highest regards. Jay-Z. Oh, yeah, we're going to give you this money. Talk about selling drugs to your people, hype it up, make everybody in the hood think that they could sell drugs and then transition into a career, start wearing button-ups, and then be a CEO. Yeah, convince them niggas that. They playing with Jay-Z at the expense of his entire people. They're playing with Meg Thee Stallion. They're playing with Cardi B. They're playing with all these people that are putting poison out that's destructive to our community. But we don't care. We don't care. So once again, did Dave Portnoy crash out? Did he say certain things that I thought were super violated, oh boy? Absolutely. Absolutely, in my opinion. But I got to admit, as I sit here and look at it, and as I sit here and think about it, I wish there was a bit more pressure on other communities, on the Black community, on just, y'all know how I identify my people that have similar values, principles, morals. But looking back, do I think that the Black community has been preyed upon? Yeah. So let me just be very specific when it comes to the Black community. I wish that we protected the positive aspects and protected making sure that we get positive outcomes in our community a lot more like Jewish people do compared to what we do now. If I had to lean one way or the other, bro, we need to be more like that. Because what is it when you think about sports? When you think about sports, right? It's very hard to teach a soft kid to go harder in football. It's very hard to teach a soft kid who's just lazy. It's very hard to motivate them to go harder. Give me the kid that's balls to the wall. I don't care if they're being an asshole in practice, the one that's hitting everybody crazy. Let me calm him down. I'd rather calm him down than try to hype somebody else up. That's just my approach on it. All right, so let's. I don't even know if we need to continue with this. I kind of got everything out. But let me play Dave Portnoy just to be fair. Let me play his response to it. His response, yo, I'm gonna be honest, yo. I thought that he would come out, and maybe I didn't think this, but I was wondering. He responded. Maybe he'll apologize. Maybe he'll say, like, "Look, I went a little bit too hard." Yo, if standing on business, like if this ain't standing on something, you may not like the business that he's standing on, but he's standing down on it. 10 toes, he's standing on it. Let's take a look at this.
Play it in context because I want to be fair to Dave. Let's play the clip.
Everyone, oh, how could Dave ever talk to his employees like that? And Fat Boy Jason Whitlock, oh, he's evil. And Des Bryant, well, is he run like an offshore gambling company or something? He's like, don't ever, how can you talk to your employees like that? These guys just shut up and mind your business. Welcome to Barstool, all right? This is how we talk to each other back and forth, especially Kirk and I. So just shut up. Shut up. Those people don't know what the talking about. This is about the bigger thing. And again, clips, what we talk about, taken out of context. Now I'm seeing, oh, Dave wants to throw people in jail for Jew jokes, and Dave wants to regulate Jew jokes. He's been this free speech guy, and remember, he sang that Ja Rule lyric like 10 years ago and shit. Like it's.
So just so y'all are aware, he was singing Ja Rule lyrics, and there's like a bunch of different clips. Matter of fact, let me see. I think I saved it for. I wasn't even gonna play it, but. Let me see if I can just so y'all are aware of. This is what they're referring to.
It's gonna be hit after hit. He'll just to all my niggas that been living it up. What you do?
Do I need to say it? Play it again.
To all my niggas that been living it up. To all my niggas that been living it up. What you do? It's gonna be hit after hit. He'll just yell something in his EDP like twang, like fuck this nigga, like in the middle, and everyone's like, what? And then he'll just go quiet for like another 20 minutes, and then he'll say something like, Brady's a bitch ass nigga, fucking rape him, and everyone's like, just kind of look at him. I thought the whole game I was gonna have to be like, he's with me,
I just showed that because Dave Portnoy mentioned it, so I figured it was only right to show y'all what he was talking about. We allow people to play with us. And perhaps in a situation like the N-word, perhaps we need to start reevaluating our use of the N-word so casually, because it seems like I mean, look at the Shiloh Hendrix situation. Nobody's tripping on saying the N-word anymore. Nobody's tripping on it. And black people, we could pump our chest and sit here and act like, yo, if somebody says it to me, if somebody says it to, all right, cool. Yeah, like, this is not high school sports where you think you playing against a bunch of white boys and you just gonna wash them. Like oh man, we about to play. And honestly, and then you learn that very quickly. These are the parochial schools. This is Bosco and Bergen. This ain't Nutley. Just being honest, this ain't Cedar Grove that we're getting ready to play Verona. But we look at it like, yo, if a white boy says something to me, white boy, like, knock it off, man. Shoot. What you, what? You just think you're superior to, man, listen, we're out of shape. And that's why I say even us getting caught up in this whole race war, don't feed into it. Don't let people gas you up to get into a race war that you can't afford to be in. Just remember, George Zimmerman's still running around out here talking shit. So I don't want to hear all this tough guy stuff, all this stuff. We tough with other black people. That's the only time we're tough. That's why people celebrated it so much when the whole boat situation happened with the dudes swimming and all that stuff. The only reason why that was celebrated because it was such a phenomenon. As far as it doesn't happen often. So I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent. My apologies. I'm going off on a little bit of a tangent, but we gonna keep getting gassed up thinking that we can afford a race war. We have no guns. We have no unity. We're out of shape. We're the most out of shape group of people. We're living check to check. Like, stop it. We're not ready for any war. Like, knock it off. Like, let's regroup. Let's figure out how we can become successful first before we start allowing people to gas us up into something that we're not ready for. But Dave Portnoy feels that he can play with niggas. He said it with confidence. Matter of fact, when I go back to that post, I think listen to what he said. Forget going back to the post. He talks about it like it was nothing. He didn't have to go to what they try to make Kyrie go to. Kyrie had to go to remember those 6 points there. They had the point system. How'd they do Nick Cannon? We saw just recently when we played the Candace Owens calling Nick Cannon out. They wanted Kyrie to go to some step program to learn Jewish history, to learn all this stuff. Well, to all my Jewish brethren, how do y'all feel if I start putting a little pressure on Dave Portnoy to start becoming educated? Maybe he needs to sit down with Thomas Sowell. I don't know. Does he need a couple lashings? Because that's what ended up happening with Kyrie, right? Figuratively, you got to do all these different things, and we're going to make an example out of this nigga. But ain't nobody making an example out of Dave Portnoy. Why? Because he doesn't need any of us, or at least he feels that way. And because we don't have any leverage and there's not enough. And when I say we, let me be very clear. I'm not just talking about black people. There's not enough stand-up people that will press a Dave Portnoy. There's not enough Jewish people in his own community that will say, Dave, nah, we don't do that. We hold ourselves to a certain standard when it comes to how we speak on other cultures because we don't want other people speaking on our culture that way. Imagine me joking around. So once again, y'all may just be saying, well, he was only singing a song. Well, do I have to bring up the example again with LeBron James when he was rapping Jay-Z's lyrics? I'm getting that Jewish money. He had to come out and apologize. If I'm not mistaken, he had to apologize. I know he had to address it. take the post down. Dave Portnoy, he doesn't even care. Listen to what he said. The Ja Rule thing.
Run like an offshore gambling company or something. He's like, don't ever, how can you talk to your employees like that? These guys just shut up and mind your business. Welcome to Barstool, all right? This is how we talk to each other back and forth, especially Kirk and I. So just shut up. Shut up. Those people don't know what the talking about. This is about the bigger thing. And again, clips, what we talk about, taken out of context. Now I'm seeing, oh, Dave wants to throw people in jail for Jew jokes, and Dave wants to regulate Jew jokes. He's been this free speech guy, and remember, he sang that Ja Rule lyric like 10 years ago and shit. Like it's crazy. So let me set this. Let me just set the record straight, because people just watch the little clips. I was referring to, if you're making a Jew joke currently, right now, like after a bunch of Jews get Molotov cocktails thrown at them in Colorado, or after 2 Jews are gunned down outside a Jewish museum, and your response is somehow it's like the Jews' fault or a veiled Jew joke, you're an anti-Semitic piece of shit.
So that's his very profane, nihilistic response.
Not that I will, but I can't wait till I get into a position like that where I mean, unapologetic. If I feel like being it, I'm not saying that he's right in his response. I'm not saying that he's wrong. But what I'm recognizing is the power struggle. See, I don't need to get into it all emotional. He's wrong. This is right. No, I'm looking at it from a standpoint like, damn. That man's saying whatever it is that he's saying. He ain't apologizing. He not, because you can sense the power that somebody has. Now, I'm not saying that power is the ultimate goal, but what it does provide is the ability to speak openly and voice your opinion in certain ways that if you do not have a certain amount of power, you will not be able to speak on. Dave Portnoy believes that he's speaking up for his community. He doesn't need to hold his words. He doesn't need to, the Ja Rule lyric, toss it to the side. He doesn't need to walk on eggshells. He doesn't need to say, well, the Ja Rule lyric that I said 10 years ago that I've apologized numerous times about, that I've regret made. He didn't say any of that. But Kyrie got to go through a program because he retweeted something. I'm not mad at Dave, and I'm not mad at the people that press Kyrie. I'm really not. I just recognize it for what it is, and I'm mad at us. Like, dang. Like, this is how we do. Maybe there's a reason why. I don't know if y'all remember when there was the lockout, those players, they snitched on Kyrie. They snitched on Kyrie. This is another reason why I don't respect LeBron, because of what he did with Kyrie, and why I still get upset when I see Shaq because the corniness that he did. But when it was the lockout and Kyrie was saying, like, yo, we should try to figure out how to create our own league, man. This is the perfect time to start on. They snitched on him to the owners. This is why they fear a guy like Kyrie, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Let's get into Trump versus Elon. Let's tone it down a little bit. Let's tone it down a little bit. What we got? We got Trump and Elon. All right, I'm gonna play this clip. We'll go through it, give some thoughts. Yeah, it was a wild day yesterday. It was a wild day yesterday. Let me reset. Let me go over here in the corner and let's get to this.
Elon Musk is continuing his attacks on President Trump, now claiming Trump is included in the infamous Epstein files, and that is the real reason they have not been released. It's a reference to the investigation into disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein, whose death in jail in 2019 and ties to top figures in politics have been the subject of many conspiracies. Musk also said without him, Trump would have lost the 2024 presidential election. Such ingratitude. That was Musk's response to a video of Trump claiming he didn't need Musk to win the key state of Pennsylvania, and that Musk is upset he's no longer in the White House inner circle. In short, arguably the most important political alliance of the last election is breaking apart in full public view.
All right. It's a little kind of boring, this one. I wish it was my other people on the Hill. But let me just talk to y'all about this, man. So Trump came out and said certain things. And maybe I'll just play for y'all what Trump had to say. But before I play that, I'll get it shared on the screen for y'all. Before I play that, this is just how I see what's going on with Trump and Elon. And there's a few things that I want to get off my chest before we get into the actual videos. Democrats, y'all owe not an apology, but y'all owe the transparency. And y'all push this narrative that Donald Trump's being controlled by Elon, that Donald Trump's being controlled by the wealthy, the oligarchy, all this other stuff. That narrative goes out the window. We've been saying it the whole time. This is why people have certain amount of hope and faith in Trump, because he's one of the only candidates in recent memory, that I can recall in my lifetime, that you feel is willing to stand on certain things and not be bought out by big pharma or whoever their donors are. And I believe he's shown that. He showed it, like I said earlier, with the big pharma, getting rid of that. He showed it, you could say, with putting RFK in the position that he's in, because a lot of people were upset that Trump was putting RFK in that position. And a lot of people were saying RFK is just getting used by Trump. RFK was polling high as a third-party candidate, so Trump just wanted his voters. He figured that he needed them to win, so therefore he just needed to tell RFK that he promised him a position, but when it actually came down to it, he treated him like Chris Christie. And RFK Jr. is actually doing certain things that he's been campaigning on. He got rid of the recommendation, like I said, of the CDC to give, I think it was young kids that are healthy and healthy pregnant women, to make that a recommended shot. So he's doing certain things. They're doing certain things with the Food and Drug Administration. They're calling out the link between the Food and Drug Administration. So I only say that to say Donald Trump needs to be recognized for somebody that does not just do with the people that donate the most amount of money to him. That should be celebrated, in my opinion, by y'all Democrats and liberals. But of course y'all won't. Of course y'all won't. Next week, you'll just flip it to a different narrative and say, look, even Elon hates Trump. As if that aligns with your previous argument. So I had to get that out. And I want to be very clear how I see Donald Trump and Elon Musk. And this is what I think happened. I think that Elon Musk got so excited with Donald Trump running as president. He saw what the country was doing, or Biden's DOJ. They saw the charges, the state charges with New York. They saw, he, like a lot of other people, saw that they were targeting Trump. And we kept figuring out, like, damn, we saw Trump when he was in office. Then when we had Biden, a lot of us realized, like, hold up, bro. Like, nah, this ain't it. And we started to appreciate Trump in a different way, perhaps even more so if he would have just served back to back. I'm just telling y'all from my experience. Maybe a lot of other people didn't have this experience. I hated Trump. I started to appreciate him more. I was an RFK guy. And I'm like, okay, let me give this dude a shot. Let me see let me open my mind up to the possibility. And let me get some more information, and then I'll make a decision. I think Elon Musk saw the country headed in a direction, like a lot of us, especially from a cultural standpoint, that he was just not okay with. And he saw Donald Trump, like a lot of people see Donald Trump, as the only person that could fix it, the only person that had the balls to fix it, the courage, the wealth going into office to where they couldn't be bought like a lot of these other politicians that go in worth X amount and then they walk out and now they're 10x, 100x what they were worth before. And that was shown in his first term when he actually, his net worth lowered from the beginning of his first term to the end of his last term. I mean, to the end of his first term. That's what people saw in Trump. And I think that's what Elon Musk. So when Elon Musk was so passionate, we're going to change things, and he sees things as a cutthroat business person. Elon Musk is a cutthroat business person. He doesn't play the political game. He plays the money game, the business game, the entrepreneur game, which is why when he goes into a company, everybody's fired. Everybody has to re-interview for their position. See, Donald Trump is the deal maker. Elon Musk is the super wealthy entrepreneur. Elon don't need to make deals. Making a deal to Elon is doing it his way, figuring out what money he needs to put up on it. Donald Trump's idea, Donald Trump's got to he's not in a position like Elon Musk of that type of wealth. His entire career has been based on putting deals together. And when you put a deal together, everything's give and take. Now, when you move into the political space, this is how I see happening. This is my opinion. See, I think that Donald Trump and Elon Musk want the same things. But I think that Donald Trump realizes that he has to, or he feels that he has to, or maybe he's just making the decision to support his fellow Republicans, support not across the board Republicans, but support the people that supported him. There's a lot of Republicans that they're going to have elections, the midterm elections, right? They're going to have different things that are coming up. And if Donald Trump, let's say, because the country's so fickle, and what do I mean by the country's so fickle? Everybody can agree that we need to figure out the trade relationship and improve the trade relationship in China. People have been talking about this. We talked about Nancy Pelosi, talked about Bernie Sanders. They've been saying it for 20 years. Trump's been saying it for 30, 40 years. But if the price of eggs doesn't go down, then people aren't going to be like, Americans are not, I don't know if the intelligence the right word, but we're just so, everything's just so quick. We're just so used to things happening quick and now. We're so spoiled and entitled that we don't understand, okay, we have to make certain decisions now where it may be a little bit of pain to make things better in the long term moving forward. Something consistent, sustainable. That because this problem didn't occur overnight, the solution's not going to occur overnight. Not a real solution that's sustainable. So Donald Trump can't just sit here and say, man, forget it. We putting these tariffs on. We not budging. We cutting this. We cutting that, because then it would impact a lot of his fellow Republicans, his fellow supporters when they go to their elections. This is just my opinion. Elon Musk is of the mindset, F them. Let's just do what's right. They need to figure out on their own how to win their elections. And maybe Elon is right. Maybe Elon is right. Now, I hate the way that it played out in public. Now, Elon, I saw on his tweet or his X message that he was saying that Donald Trump said something about him. But what seems to happen to me is that Donald Trump, if this is a real thing, that's another thing that we got to consider, I guess. But it seems to me that Elon was he was poking. He was poking Donald Trump. Donald Trump was saying nothing but nice things. No, Elon's going to continue working with us. He has a key to the White House. I think I even saw, I don't know if he actually said that, but he was very complimentary of Elon. Elon was going in interviews even before yesterday saying like, criticizing the bill, critiquing the bill, not Trump. But obviously, Trump could feel some type of way about that. But even Carolyn Levitt, the press secretary of Trump, she said, look, president's clear on Elon Musk, how he feels about the bill. The president still feels the same about the bill. It's a big, beautiful bill. That's what she said. Then when Donald Trump came out and said what I'm getting ready to play for y'all, this is where everything went left. Because Elon then could say, oh, he's talking about me. He's disappointed in me. And that's when Elon unleashed everything on Donald Trump. And he mentioned the fact that the Epstein files are not coming out because Donald Trump's in them. For me, I thought it was a cornball move from Elon. I thought it was a cornball move. And the reason why I thought it was a cornball move, so is it about the bill or is it about your principles and morals about Donald Trump being a part of this pedophile ring or whatever the Epstein issue things are, right? With the Epstein files. Because when I'm hearing Elon, it seems as if, oh, Elon, if he would have ran the bill by you, or you guys would have agreed on certain things with the bill, if he would have cut more and made the government more efficient, I guess you wouldn't have put him on blast that the reason why the Epstein files haven't come out is because he's in them. Or I guess you would have been okay with not exposing that. That's why I said it's real cornballish. It was an emotional response. Elon, in my opinion, allowed his ego, his superpower, which is probably his ego, because a lot of things with superpowers, right? They can lead to your benefit, but they can also lead to certain things that are going to hinder you. A lot of these superpowers. So his ego, which probably allowed him to reach the type of levels of success that he has that nobody has ever reached, depending on how you're gauging success. But he's done things that nobody else has been able to do, is largely because of his ego. People telling him no, people telling him he can't do certain things. His ego would not allow him to stop until he accomplished those things. And now, in my opinion, his ego has him crashing out in certain ways, even if he's right. Where I think he was just itching and waiting for Donald Trump to say something. Let me just play the video. My fault. I'm over here talking y'all head off.
But if they picked him, I would have won Pennsylvania. I won it by a lot. But I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here, better than you people. He knew everything about it. He had no problem with it. All of a sudden he had a problem, and he only developed the problem when he found out that we're going to have to cut the EV mandate, because that's billions and billions of dollars, and it really is unfair. We want to have cars of all types. Electric, we want to have electric, but we want to have a gasoline combustion.
Now, let me be real. I didn't like that Trump did this because I don't know if it's true, but if I had to go one way or another, I would say that Elon, we knew for a while that, or I thought that it came out a while ago that Trump was getting rid of the rebates for a lot of the electric vehicles and that would hinder Elon Musk's business. We've heard of that for a while. So I don't know why now Trump is trying to say like, oh, we put the bill out and it had that. Ever since he found out about that, it's going left. That's been out. I think what it really comes down to is Elon Musk is the most successful business person, I guess you could say, in the world. One of them, right? Even if you can't say, okay, cool, one of them. He believes that his opinion on a lot of these matters when it comes to the government, which is just a business, if we're just being honest, a business in a huge deficit, he believes that his opinion probably weighs heavier than anybody that Trump is going to consult with combined, and perhaps Trump as well. And maybe rightfully so, but he didn't win an election. So Trump saying this, in my opinion, I thought that triggered Elon. And you notice how Trump started off saying that he's disappointed. He didn't say that he's disappointed in Elon yet, but now he's getting ready to say that he's disappointed in Elon. When you start saying certain stuff like that, like you say you're disappointed in Elon, Elon's ego, Elon's a billionaire, like, bruh. I would expect an Elon type of reaction.
We want to have different. We want to have hybrids. We want to have we want to be able to sell everything. And when that was cut, and Congress wanted to cut it.
And let me be very clear. This has been something that people have brought up when it comes to Trump. When I go back and forth with people about Trump, some of the things that people have mentioned is the fact that, well, Donald Trump, he gets into these spats with certain people and he needs to just prioritize running the country and he just is distracted and as much as I think that Donald Trump tried to send Elon off in a way that would prevent this situation from occurring, and it may just have been inevitable from the beginning, because I remember sitting down with my big bro Jim Dory at when we do our breakfasts, and he said like months ago, like, well, we all know it's going to get to a certain point where the egos are going to collide, it's going to blow up. Cool. But for it to happen like this, and for Trump, and who's now in the position, I should say, where he can, a lot of the things that people were critiquing about him not being emotionally intelligent, or him being triggered. I remember in the debate with Kamala Harris, he just took the bait, and it's like, bro, you just took the bait. Like, you don't got to respond to everything. As much as he's showing all of those things and proving all those people right, he has the opportunity now moving forward to show a certain level of maturity as a leader. I'm going to ask him to do so. He has the opportunity, even for selfish reasons, you have the opportunity to now show up in a much more mature way. Just ignore Elon. Don't go back and forth. Don't say what you're going to use the government to do against this private citizen or his business and whatnot. Don't do any of that. Just leave it alone. Now, maybe I'm saying this selfishly, because I know that, hey, Trump could ruin my Tesla stock. So maybe I'm a little biased from that, bro. Trump, chill. Elon, shut up. Did I just tell a billionaire to shut? Yeah, shut up. My money's involved. I'm Dave Portnoy. Shut up. I got money involved. I may not have as much money as Elon involved in it, but I got money. And Trump, maybe I'm not going to tell Trump to shut up, because I think that Elon's been more reactionary. Like, I just think that Elon's doing too much. I'll be honest. And I'm not saying that Elon's wrong. I actually think that Elon's right. I actually think that Elon's right, and Trump is just being a politician, and he's trying to, and this is the thing, like when it comes to this bill, doesn't this kind of show you and represent that this bill seems to be pretty balanced? If Elon's saying, like, Elon's critiquing it as if he would critique a Democratic bill. Spending too much, right? It's going to have us in a bigger deficit. I don't know. Let's keep going.
He became a little bit different, and I can understand that. But he knew every aspect of this bill. He knew it better than almost anybody. And he never had a problem until right after he left. And if you saw the statements he made about me, which I'm sure you can get very easily, it's very fresh on tape. He said the most beautiful things about me. And he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Mr. President, I just want to clarify, did he raise any of these concerns with you privately before he raised them publicly? And this is the guy.
So very quickly, I'll kind of take y'all through. Let's just go to some of these posts. I had some saved, but I kind of want to see the entire thread. So let's go to, can you guys see the screen? Yeah, you guys can see it. Hold on, I'll make it bigger. Let's go through this a bit. See, Elon's like, he's crashing out, bro. Like, bro, not now, bro. Like, now he's putting up certain stuff with Trump on that. Like, Elon, you don't have to do all this, bro. You don't have to do all this. Like, he's calling for Trump to get, I believe he retweeted something about Trump getting removed as the president and putting JD Vance there. It's like Trump should be impeached, he was saying. Yeah, this is the right here. President versus Elon. Who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached and JD Vance should replace him. And Elon wrote, yes. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? So Elon's just been going off. He's been using Trump's words against him. it's I don't know. I don't know. This should not be. This is how, and to be totally honest, this is how things should work. People in the same party or people on the same team should debate and argue about the best approaches. That's what having a diverse group of diversity of thought. People don't always think the same way. They don't have all the same perspectives and experience. So that's why when it comes to certain problems that they're presented with, they have different solutions. They present different solutions. They think different solutions are right. Elon thinks his solution is right. Trump thinks his is right. Have the back and forth, have the bickering, have the black eye, but do that stuff behind the scenes and put some headgear on if y'all going to jump in the ring and start sparring. Like, go do that. But we don't need to see this in public. And I have to put more of the responsibility on Donald Trump is because we elected Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the president of the United States, and he needs to conduct himself as such. Elon Musk, just a rich guy. And obviously, when I say just a rich guy, obviously, y'all know how I feel about Elon. I like Elon. I bet money on Elon. Like, forget liking him. Like, I put money on Elon. I believe in Elon. Shoot, when you put money into stocks, that means that you believe in those stocks more than you believe in putting that money on yourself, right? I see myself as an entrepreneur figuring this stuff out. So I decided to put money on Elon when I could have taken that money and put it on myself. So clearly I believe in Elon. But we got to figure this out. So I had a couple other things to discuss with you guys, but I think we're going to end up leaving it there. Ruben wrote, I think Elon Musk, and shout out to Ruben. Appreciate you tapping in. I think this is your first time. And for all the people that are new and everybody, make sure that you like, and subscribe. It's going to help the algorithm. I should have said that an hour ago. I should be saying that every 15 minutes. That's Maya's job, but she's on the plane right now, so she can't do her job. But it is what it is. I think Elon Musk is more dangerous because of the information he's holding. Y'all think that Elon's somebody brought that up to me yesterday. Y'all think that Elon knows some stuff that he can hold over Trump's head? I don't know. Do you think that Trump knows some stuff? Now I'm over here thinking like, yo, did Republicans leak this stuff out about Elon's ketamine and the mushrooms and whatever else he was on? The Adderall? Now it's like, and is this even real? Because to be totally honest, a big money play, because we know that sometimes they could have been on there Nancy Pelosi manipulating these stocks or taking advantage of them. A big play could be Elon, yo, we finna drive this stock down. We know that we're going to work with you in the future and your stock is going to go through the roof. So let's put it on sale for a little bit. Let's get into a little spat. Let's put a little makeup on your eye. Elon probably said, no, it's got to be real. It's got to be a real black eye. I'm just saying if this did happen. Donald Trump says, hey, yeah, we're going to get into a little argument. Don't get too disrespectful. And the fact of where it's going, now I'm a little bit, but Trump could also say like, yeah, y'all knew that I was on Epstein's records. Like, I think we already knew that. So I don't know. It seems a little bit too extreme to me. I don't believe what I'm saying, but this is some of the thoughts that went through my head because I was just like, yo, I just try to see all the different options, but they could just say, yo, we get into an argument. Stock goes down. It has its biggest drop in the history of Tesla. People can buy it on sale. And then Trump and Elon piece it up and they agree to move forward with some electric vehicles or something else. I think Elon's next week, the robo taxis or the self-driving cars they launched. So I don't know. Maybe this is just what I'm hoping. But please, man, damn. Like, YouTube ain't paying us enough yet, which, by the way, we now accepting sponsors. So I don't know. For all y'all listening, we're accepting sponsors. So if you want to sponsor your brand, your business, if you want your business up here or somewhere or digitally on the screen, if you want a commercial, we got 10-second slots, 20-second slots, and 30-second slots. Then let's talk. Hit me up outside of this. You could email me or just shoot me. You could shoot me a text, shoot me a DM at the OG Network on Instagram, or you could email teamohgi@gmail.com or just dak@ohgi.com. Yeah, we need these sponsors. We about to, yeah. So on that note, we're gonna wrap it up. So let's do it. It's Friday. Y'all know what we set out every week on Monday and Sunday to do, Sundays and Mondays, to make this our greatest week ever. Fridays, this is the fourth quarter. This is how we look at it, the fourth quarter. I got a text from my brother Bug earlier. Mont said, feeling more like overtime. So we look at the fourth quarter, Friday, either fourth quarter or overtime, however you look at it. But let's just figure out a way to win. And I think I had didn't I have something positive that I wanted to say at the end of this? Oh, yeah, okay, this is what we're going to finish off with. We're going to do something a little different. So this is the video. I try to make sure that we're finishing off, especially on the weekend, with something positive. We actually have a video from yours truly that I wanted y'all to take a look at. Let me see if I could find it. It's a video that I just posted the other day. We'll end with that, and I got it right. Do I have it right here? Maybe I didn't put it on here. Maybe I just put it on Instagram. All right, let me look at my Instagram real quick, and then we'll finish off with that video, and then we shall move on. I guess I didn't. Yeah, I need to put that on my All right, we'll just look on Instagram. All right. Yeah. All right, so take a look at this video. This is what we're gonna end it with. This is what we'll end it with. Look at Mom Dukes. All right, here we go.
Democrats. There's Republicans and independents that would risk their lives, put their lives on the line for you, regardless of who you vote for. Republicans, there's some Democrats and independents that'll do the same. Independents, there's Democrats and Republicans that'll risk their life for you. We see it all the time in the military. How silly would we think it was, and how selfish would we think it was if people in our military decided that they're not going to fight certain wars, they're not going to risk their life for their brothers, their sisters in the military with them if they don't vote the same way as them? How many politicians that you voted for would risk their life for you? A stranger. How many politicians that we vote for would risk their life for their family members? Some of them maybe, but I don't know. Things should never get to a point where we're not talking to family. We can't have spirited debates without getting disrespectful. All of this stuff is getting too hectic. I blame mainstream media. I blame all of us, because we all play a hand in it, for allowing them to run us through this circus, get us to hate each other, get us to try to brew whatever war, whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's Black Lives Matter, whether it's MAGA, across the board. They always try to get us to hate something, because they know that the more emotionally involved we are, the less we'll pay attention to the overall big picture. Let's debate. Let's go back and forth. Let's figure out who's the best candidate. That's what the whole point of a democracy is, right? The whole point of this republic that we live in, the United States of America, right? Let's just never allow it to get to the point where we're hustling backwards. We're doing so much infighting, not even realizing that the people that have the real power are using it to their advantage while it works to our detriment. I'll see y'all soon. Ew.
Peace and love to all, man. And shout out to Ruben, man. Appreciate you, Ruben. Appreciate those kind words. Appreciate those kind words. Hold on. Where Ruben sent me some kind words. My bad. I missed it. My apologies. I saw something that you wrote. But I appreciate it. Let me move this out the way. Let's do our 45 seconds that we do at the end of every show. 45 seconds to manifest, meditate, get your breath working. Get your exhaling all the negative energy. Shout out to my girl Shy in the building. She been here, but I didn't properly shout her out. But every exhale, we're getting rid of all the negative energy. Every inhale, we're inhaling the positive energy. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place if you want to, or keep the eyes open. Lock in. If you're at work and you're sitting at the cubicle and you see your op on the job, like just grill her, grill him, and I'm just joking. But whatever it is that you need to do, 45 seconds, clear your mind. Take that time right now. We will begin. The cubicle. People be having beef with the cubicle. All right. All right. Just Joy in the building. Oh, you tapping in from South Africa. That's why you were talking about. All right, so we got a Ruben. So we're on Mondays and Fridays at 8 a.m. Please make sure that you tap in, turn your notifications on. So that's something that I realized, that you have to actually turn your notifications on for the particular channel. Even if you subscribe, you won't get the notifications unless you turn the notifications on for that particular channel. So, yeah. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Y'all know what we here to do, elevate on purpose, both from an intentional standpoint, raising our standards to become the best leaders we can become, as well as to grow into the individuals we need to become to accomplish these audacious, outlandish, arrogant, whatever you want to call them, these amazing goals that we set for ourselves, because we know that we're willing to put the sacrifice in order to get the results. All right, onward and upward, strength and honor. Get to that bag. When I say get to the bag, I mean all the little things that you're doing throughout the week, throughout the month, throughout the year that are making sure that you're aligned with the proper trajectory as we pursue purposeful abundance and make an impact on this world, which we like to call our personal legend. On that note, I'll tell you what's in my bag, but you got to decide what's in your bag. The things that I focus on: peace, love, happiness, health, wealth, and everything we do, integrity. All right. And I know I added one on the other day. Maybe it was joy. I see joy, just joy. So let's do everything with some joy. We should be smiling and enjoying life. We should be enjoying life. So love y'all, man. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all soon. Ew.